What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? We in here on an early morning tip. Man, it's like 5:41 a.m. in the morning, bro. I've probably been up since I don't know, man. Sometime yesterday. I don't know. I don't even know no more, man. But nah, I'm just in this motherfucker early on an early morning tip when I'm in here tripping. I'm in here tripping off this Diddy trial, man. I've been kind of loosely paying attention to it. You know what I mean? I still try to, keep my eye on the world, as it's rotating, you know what I mean? I'd be tucked off in my own little box, man, trying to stay creative, trying to, I got a lot of footage that I got to edit, a lot of pictures and photos and music and beats that I got to edit, so I'd be kind of tucked off um, in my own little island a lot of the times. Um, but I'm just like, the shit I'm hearing out of this Diddy case is crazy. Like, listen, innocent until proven guilty. Unfortunately, we live in a world now where you're guilty until proven innocent, you know. But because listen, I wasn't there. I never been to a Diddy party. I never hung around Diddy. I never been anywhere inside of anywhere close to the industry on that level. You know what I mean? I've been doing music for years. Um, I've been out performing. I've been out making music videos. I've been out recording, engineering my own shit, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But I have no clue about those type of things. I don't know. Um, can I imagine how things could be? Um, yeah, stuff can get wild. I've been at kickbacks, I've been at, house parties and certain places where, shit get a little wild. I mean, not wild to the what they claiming in, these allegations, but I can imagine, liquor flowing, is girls around. Like I've seen some stuff go down at parties, you know what I'm saying? That some would consider extreme or that's wild, you know what I mean? But give me 1 second though. Let me cue this music up real quick. Mm, Cue something up for some background. Now, all of the beats that you will catch in my live stream, for the most part, I produce those. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be playing like if you following, what I'm doing, Raww Dose TV, True Sub TV. If you catch me in these live streams, a lot of the background sounds and music and all of that you hear is probably something that I created solo dolo, or I made with some of my boys, man, some of the people I know. You know what I mean? So always be on the lookout for that. If you're a rapper who interested in certain beats, if you're a brand owner or a brand ambassador or some type of company, gaming company, if you need music for your a customized track for your whatever you got going on, make sure you tap into what we got going on. That's troopsupenterprise@gmail.com. Make sure y'all checking that out. Make sure y'all checking that out. Um, One second, one second, one second. That's right here. Got to go into my archives. Got to go into my archives. I need to have this stuff queued up before I hop on here a lot of the times, but we just get it out the mud, bro. We get this shit out the mud. Everything ain't peaches and cream and all perfect around this motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Let me cue that up real quick. But yeah, man, like getting back to this Diddy shit. I'm sitting here watching. I'm tripping off of this, yo. The shit that's been coming out of this case has been crazy, bro. Like the stuff that we hearing come out this case is wild, bro. But hold on, let me check this video out real quick.
15 encounters, and I heard lots of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay, for them.
7 years ago, when Jonathan Oddie told that to authorities, no one really took notice, right? It was just the ramblings of a crazy person. But now, in 2025, when Sean Diddy Combs is on trial for federal sex crimes and his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra...
Yo, that's crazy, yo. That's a crazy-ass title and allegation, bro.
Sandra Ventura Fine, victim one in this case, testifies against him, claiming she was coerced into prolonged and elaborate sexual performances with male sex workers. Yeah, we look at this a lot different. And in fact, we are looking at what Jonathan Oddie said and himself a lot differently, considering he officially came up in testimony during this trial. Cassie talked about him quite a bit. By the way, I say Jonathan Oddie. I've heard other people say Jonathan Odie. Haven't been able to get official confirmation on how to pronounce his last name, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Oddie. Anyway, it has been quite a wild journey, okay? And you have to say, with her...
Wild journey, bro. These allegations are disgusting, bro. These allegations are filthy work, nigga.
Testimony. Does it validate everything that he said? Maybe.
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
And it's the black people. Okay.
Okay, maybe not.
Now that right there, to be honest, yo, because I've been like, you know, social media savvy for a very long time, bro. YouTube rabbit holes I've been diving down past, you know, conspiracy theory type videos. I've been watching this type stuff since probably 2009, right? So that allegation, that right there, the Boule and the Illuminati, all that stuff, like I remember like when that stuff had that type of topic became trendy in our culture. Like, yo, I remember walking around in the hood and people like, yo, it's the most hoodest motherfucker in the hood. Like, Illuminati. So the Boule and all that, it's a little, we don't know. Got to be proven. But they do say that a Boule exists. Freemason, all that. But we ain't getting into that because that's a whole nother video and all that other stuff, man. Y'all go do your own research on that type of stuff.
Everything? I don't know. But he did say at the time that he was paid to have sex with Cassie in front of Combs. And what is being said now in court? Well, before we even get into that, let me explain who Jonathan Oddie is. So Oddie is this former stripper who was taken into custody in May of 2018.
Crazy.
After he allegedly fired a gun inside of the Trump National Doral Miami Hotel and Resort in the middle of the night. The Florida State Attorney's Office says that Oddie fired shots in the lobby toward the chandelier, then draped a giant American flag across the front desk. He also apparently got into a shootout with police officers. Now, according to the Miami-Dade court, Oddie faces 10 charges, multiple counts of attempted murder, aggravated assault, burglary. There really is no real update on his case. It's kind of been stagnant. He's still locked up. But I'll tell you what, when he sat down for a long interview with law enforcement after his arrest, during that interview, he brought up, unprompted, that he was Sean Combs' sex slave. Okay?
That's what makes this shit weird, yo, because like you get caught up on some whole other shit and then you start going in an interrogation room mentioning that. Like I mean, that's what's weird about it. It's like, yo, what made you go in there and do that inside of the interrogation room? Like, what made you go in there and say that type of stuff? You in there for gun charges and some other shit, like, and you just start mentioning Sean Combs. I mean, as I said, I don't know. It's just weird, bro. Like, this is one of the weirdest situations we've ever seen in rap music, like hip hop culture. Like, what is this? What is this? The fuck is this?
Okay, it was a pretty wild allegation at the time, and again, nobody really took notice because this was years before Combs would ultimately be accused of all this, that he would be accused in multiple lawsuits of wrongdoing, before he would end up being charged with federal sex trafficking and racketeering and prostitution charges.
Crazy work.
Allegations being that he formed a criminal enterprise using his businesses to abuse women, including forcing them into coerced sexual performances, including with sex workers. Freak-offs, baby oil, drugs, voyeurism.
Hey, yo.
I'll tell you what, we have been on
yo.
top of this Jonathan Oddie story and its connection to Diddy for a while now here on Sidebar, and the reason that we can do that for you here is because we get amazing support from our sponsors like Upside. Now, Upside's great. It is a free app that gets you cash back when you buy daily essentials. Offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. You pay as you did in 2016 hotel ship with Sean Allen on your first. Now, here's the thing. Cassandra Ventura Fine took the stand, and she testified about her 11-year relationship with Sean Combs. She claims...
Oh, so Shorty pregnant now? She pregnant? What the... Man.
That she was physically abused by the rap mogul, that she was beaten, that she was dragged, that she was kicked. As we know, this was allegedly documented in 2016 hotel footage, photos of her alleged injuries, her testimony, the testimony of others like another male performer named Daniel Phillip, her former friend Kerry Morgan, Dawn Richard from Dandy Kane, all corroborating testimony. And all of them, all corroborating testimony because they all testified to Combs assaulting Cassie. And the prosecution asserts that Combs used...
But that's not what he on trial for. Because I think the statute of limitations is on that type of case was up. I think that's why they settled out of court.
...used threats, violence, manipulation to induce and coerce Cassie into commercial sex acts with male strippers, performers, escorts.
Wow.
That this was done without her real consent. And during the course of her testimony, Jonathan Oddie seemingly comes up. Okay, this is a big deal. So I'm going to read you portions of the transcript where he comes up or seemingly comes up. For example, there's this exchange. Miss Ventura, who do you know the individual depicted in Government Exhibit 2A624 to be? Answer, Jonathan. Question.
That's crazy.
How do you know Jonathan? We saw him several times. Who is we? Sean and I. In what cities did you, or cities did you see Jonathan? In Miami, mostly. I don't know if he flew anywhere. Jonathan Oddie, Florida, makes sense. But then there was another part where he came up, and this is big. So the idea being, and give you a little bit of backstory here, the idea being that Combs had allegedly recorded sexual episodes, freak-offs, okay, without Cassie knowing. And the prosecution said that he did this as a way to blackmail and intimidate her into doing what he wanted. But listen to this exchange about a different type of recording, something that came up on cross-examination by Combs' defense counsel. So this is the question to Cassandra Ventura Fine. Did you know whether or not Mr. Combs expressed concern about these videos also being released? Answer, when? Question, have you ever witnessed Mr. Combs express concern about these videos being released? Yes. And Mr. Combs always supported you in not wanting these videos to come out and prevented these videos from coming out? I would say for the most part. There was an escort that you met named Mr. Jonathan Oddie a few times, right? Yeah. Do you know who I'm referring to? Yup. At some point you understood that he'd taken a video, a secret video of you and Mr. Combs and he at a freak-off, right? I thought he did, yeah. When you found out about that, you spent some amount of time, several months, trying to make sure that it went away, right? I did not. Mr. Combs did? Yeah. You understood that Mr. Combs spent a great deal of time and money to make sure that that video went away, right? I didn't know any of the details. Were you aware that he spent a significant amount of...
Mind, just keep in mind, I mean, people can lie under perjury, bro. Like, you just had to get caught lying under oath to even get, prosecuted for that. So, trust me, a lot of people will go to court lying. Don't matter if they put their hand on the Bible, none of that. So, that's why I said, a lot of this stuff, bro, you got to take it with a grain of salt, bro. You cannot just, I know people love to create narratives and shit like that on social media. The jokes, the running memes and all of that, yo. But at the end of the day, it's a man in court that has to get proven guilty. You know what I'm saying? So we can't run off. But this case is wild as shit. The jokes are hilarious, bro. The jokes are hilarious. I'm not even gonna lie.
To make sure the video did not get released? No. When you learned that Mr. Oddie had taken a secret recording of you that ended your relationship with him, right? I believe so. You never would have had a freak-off with him ever again, right? No, I'm not going to play anything, but you also had a conversation with Mr. Oddie that was transcribed, right? Or recorded. Recorded. I don't remember, but it sounds familiar. And you were very concerned about the situation with Mr. Adi, right? Yeah. He seemed like a volatile personality, right? I don't know about volatile, I just didn't trust it. He was threatening to release a sex video of you, right? I don't know that he actually did that. I'm sorry. You don't know if he threatened to release the video? I don't remember. You just remember learning that he did have a video. I was in the room with him and I saw the phone up, and so I told Sean about it right after. But you were concerned that he was recording at the time, right? Yes. And when you raised that concern with Mr. Combs, he did all that he could to get rid of Mr. Adi, right? And then there's an objection from Emily Johnson, one of the prosecutors. The judge says that's sustained. Going back to the questioning. What happened when you told Mr. Combs about your suspicion that Adi was recording you? He said, I'll take care of it. That's the most I remember. To your knowledge, Mr. Combs was also concerned about recordings of him getting out, right? Yup. Mr. Combs is a celebrity, as we've already established, right? Yes. And these would have been embarrassing to him and they had been released, right? Yes. Just as they would have been embarrassing to you had they been released. I guess it depends on what content, yeah. Had a sex video of you been released, it would have been embarrassing, right? For sure. That's why you were so upset in that audio recording we just heard, right? So putting aside the idea that Adi allegedly had a recording of both Combs and Ventura, and we're going to get to that in a minute because he too has apparently spoken out recently about this, but the reason from a legal point of view that this is all so important is because the defense is trying to establish that Combs was trying to protect Cassie. That he would never release a sex tape of her or the two of them. That they're trying to cast doubt on the idea that he would ever blackmail Cassie with releasing sex tape footage. That he wouldn't do that to embarrass her or himself. And also seeming to suggest you ended this whole relationship with Jonathan Adi because you thought he had a recording of you. Wouldn't you have done the same? If Combs had a recording of you and was threatening to blackmail you wouldn't have put up with that. You wouldn't have stayed with him. I think that's a portion of where
that's my whole thing, bro. Hey, yo, you mean to tell me out of all the money, all right, out of all the money that Diddy made over the years, you know, all of this millionaire talk and billionaire talk, you mean to tell me that this motherfucker gonna mess with somebody that look like this? That's you and your girl in there. You and your girl in there following with this. You a billionaire, brother. You in there having happy time with this. What the fuck are we doing? Listen, bro, no homo. Listen, no homo. Listen, no homo. Pause this all the way. But brother, you mean to tell me you couldn't afford a Tyson Bedford or something? I don't know, bro. Listen, I'm not one to judge niggas' looks. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not one to judge a man by how he look. But I could care less. But my man, they say you got money. Ain't no way, man. As you in there, you and your girl in there with this. I don't know, man.
He had a recording of you. Wouldn't you have done the same if Combs had a recording of you and was threatening to blackmail you? You wouldn't have put up with that. You wouldn't have stayed with him. I think that's a portion of where they might be going. But putting that to the side, at one point, when she was on the stand, when Cassie was on the stand, she was questioned about an audio recording where she allegedly berates a DJ who may have had one of these freak-off tapes. And look, this was a different side of Cassandra Ventura Fine than what we were seeing on the stand. Because she allegedly says to him on this tape, if you have it, pull it up or I will kill you, and he will kill you again. The he seems to be in reference to Sean Combs. She also allegedly said on the recording, if you don't show me, I will cut you up. Now, when questioned by the prosecution, she said, quote, I was just sick about it and was feeling pressure from Sean, so I was going in on Sugin, this is the DJ. It was weird. It was a weird day. What do you mean you were feeling pressure from Sean? She's asked. Answer, he was sending me messages because I shared it with him, obviously, right away because we didn't know whether or not it was a freak-off video. And yeah, he just texted me quite a bit and called me quite a bit about it, so I felt like I had to handle the situation. Who, if anyone, was directing you? Sean. Again, this is so incredible Because listen to what Jonathan Oddie said back in the day about all this.
I caught police,
don't mind me.
and I came back and I seen him.
Don't mind me. I be editing and doing shit on my phone, and I be multitasking, bro. Don't mind me. I be doing like fucking 3 different things at once. It's not a flex because sometimes you need to focus and zero in on one thing and get that thing done. But I get it all done over a period of time by doing 3 different things because I multitask. But back to the video.
For the reason one, but they did Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible, I threw everything out, it's possible I can produce a copy.
Now, Jonathan Oddie recently spoke with News Nation. And what did he say to News Nation? Well, he told News Nation, quote, that he felt bad because I got along with her, meaning Cassie, and I think she's a decent person. And I had a suspicion that she was in a situation that she was in, but I wasn't sure. And now I understand what was going on in her life and what was happening. And him beating her up in the hotel shows me the type of individual he is, and that everything that happened to me is true and correct and in line with his personality. And he described.
Yeah, but violence is separate from sexual stuff, bro. Like, just because somebody is a domestic, violent type motherfucker don't mean that they're fucking weirdo when it comes to sexual behavior. They trying to get this man on sexual trafficking, poisoning people, basically having them under the influence. So it's different. It's different things. I mean, domestic violence, I'm not condoning any of it because it's, you know what I'm saying? I don't think you should be putting your hands on people unless you're defending yourself. That's the only time that I will condone somebody putting their hands on somebody, when you're defending yourself. It's the only time, because you can never get mad at the response. The initiator can't get mad at the response. So if you decide you want to do something to somebody, you decide to slap them and they come back and they stab you, you can't get mad at that because you shouldn't have initiated that type of physical altercation. You know what I'm saying? But it's 2 different things.
Described how he would have to wear a costume during these sexual episodes, how he would strip down, how he was paid to do, quote, extra stuff, all while Combs watched and allegedly pleasured himself.
What?
Claimed that he had 15 sessions with Ventura Fine and Combs.
Oh, there's no way, bro. Yo, that man looked like a Russian. He like a Russian fucking like a Russian mobster or something, bro. Like he's from Yugoslavia or something. Y'all in there following with that? You in there watching that? You in there making fucking live Pornhub videos, man. You in there watching cuck videos, bro. What, you made yourself a walking cuck? What we doing here, man?
And was paid $800 each time, sometimes multiple times in one day. And when describing how drugs were used during these encounters, he talks about how he was concerned that someone might overdose. And he apparently decided that he was going to take action. And he was going to take action when Cassie was passed out. Oddie said, quote, so after she passed out, I decided to record that in the event anything was to happen. Like if she died or anybody died, it would be on camera, on video, what happened. I wasn't responsible for any of that. I put it on the table and filmed the entire session. I had it transcribed. They had been threatening me, but he, meaning Diddy, would tell her what to say. And Oddie explained he no longer was hired to perform for Cassie and Combs, calling them paranoid, saying, quote, I wanted to guarantee my safety. So I text them, I said, if anything happens to me, I have evidence of being with you. Again, pretty incredible that we went from this.
The hip-hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs law in the United States. You need to involve the DEA. They move all the dope.
Diddy sitting back like Nino Brown right now, bro. Man, this thing bigger than Nino Brown, man. First of all, what are you saying, man? Don't get me wrong. It's some internet conspiracy stuff, social media conspiracy stuff, some shit you can go look on YouTube right now. You can go after we leave this live. You can go on an interview, YouTube right now, and pull up a lot of this, like these conspiracy theories. So that's why I'm saying it's just weird that this man get pulled into an interrogation room, almost as if he wanted to get caught on purpose, just so he can like tell his shit to the world, bro.
Okay, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by
customs.
by the
Yeah.
inside the United States. Okay, they move what's called high grade powder MDMA. They move cocaine and they move liquid cocaine in the bottles too. Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the bottles and they move it. I've seen the liquid cocaine. I've drank it myself, having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks all the time.
To now, he's officially a part of the Sean Combs trial. Unbelievable. And when you think about, does this validate some of what he said, this is not the first time that we have had a conversation about whether Adi's claims are in fact true. You might recall that Adi said this too in his interview with authorities back in the day.
I've had a great life. I've settled $4.125 million with Diddy. Okay, was he scared that I was exposing?
I don't want to talk about Diddy right now. I want to talk about you. Help me understand you.
And the interesting thing about that, according to
And then he
recent
kept doing
reporting
it.
from the Daily Mail and the New York Post,
Then he kept
Jonathan
doing it.
Adi may have signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement with Sean Combs, signing this in exchange for $5 million. And apparently, there is a picture of the NDA signed in 2014 that has surfaced. This is according to the report. You see a signature on it. It's over Sean Combs individually and on behalf of Bad Boy Worldwide, Sean John Enterprises. Is that Sean Combs' signature or not? Possibly. And Adi went on to apparently tell authorities, quote, "My settlement put me in a box. Basically, I couldn't talk because I was going to be sued. They kept following me." This is what he reportedly said. And you know one of the other reasons that this settlement may be the real deal, that he's telling the truth? Because he had been married at one point to this woman named Tanya Troutwine. And the Daily Mail reports that while he claimed in divorce paperwork that he had filed that he was making just $2,000 a month and was in the red when it came to his
Oh, shit.
net worth, less than a month later, he apparently goes on a shopping spree, buys 5 properties for over $765,000, possibly in all cash deals, which again would possibly be consistent with coming into some money, possibly through signing an NDA.
Oh, shit.
And by the way, don't take it just from me. We actually interviewed Tanya Troutwine ourselves, Jonathan Adi's ex-wife.
I didn't even know about the agreement till he randomly contacted me one night. And it was a few weeks before the shooting. And it was just rambling. And I signed this deal for all this money. And he started just throwing lawyer names left and right. Half I've never heard of. I think Gloria Allred was one of the names I'd heard because I admire her. She was one of my inspirations to actually become a lawyer. You know, I studied her throughout my entire life in her cases. They were very high profile. And he mentioned her and he mentioned a lot of other lawyers' names. And I was just like, wow, okay, maybe, I was looking at it positively that something good, but he was not himself. He was frantic. He's, here, you have to take this look. Here's his agreement. And he gave me a lawyer's number to contact that said he had the full agreement. I contacted that lawyer. He gave me the runaround, of course. He did meet with me. He was very kind. He was very friendly with Johnny, but he refused to go into anything to do. And he actually, I try to work with him to co-counsel, to defend Johnny, and, he kind of blocked it. So at that point, I kind of fear, well, he's a little more favorable to the guys paying for the contract than he is Johnny. And I let it go from there.
It was
My bad,
actually
my bad.
an
Hold on,
incredible
hold on,
interview.
I
It's
got
up on
you,
a
I got
prior
you.
sidebar that we did earlier in the month. You can check it out. But just to give you a sample, take a look at this.
He still deserves for people to know why he lost it, what went wrong. I do believe it was as a result of a relationship with P. Diddy that's evidenced, by his contract that he signed. When he did provide me a copy of that contract and did give me permission.
Let's dive into this other video, bro, because, man, wild shit, man. I mean, we've been hearing wild stuff about this whole trial, yo, but we in court now. We in court now.
I think there is a reason prosecutors invoked the name of Barack Obama in the Diddy trial today. And if what I'm thinking is right, it is shocking. I gotta tell you, every big criminal case has a character. In O.J. Simpson, it was Kato Kalin. In Diddy, it was the Punisher. This guy comes up on the stand today,
Hey, yo,
and
what?
I gotta tell you, it just
Hold up. Hold up, yo. Hold up, yo.
And tonight with a Pix 11 exclusive out of the Diddy sex trafficking trial. We're hearing directly from one of the escorts that testified today, a man who was introduced to jurors as the Punisher.
They got this nigga named the Punisher, bro. Hey, yo. This man name was the Punisher, yo. What the fuck we got going on here, bro? This man name was what? His name was what?
51-year-old
That shit
told us
sound
that based on
crazy
his
as a
testifying today,
headline.
a man who was introduced. Now we're hearing directly
What?
from one of the escorts that testified today, a man who was introduced to jurors as the Punisher. 51-year-old told us that based on his experience, he didn't know what alleged crime he was testifying about.
Sheree Hayes was a prosecution witness, though some believe he helped the defense. Our Anthony DiLorenzo joining us now. Anthony, you were inside the courtroom, and right after you spoke to Mr. Hayes, who is relieved, he says, right, that all of this is over.
He certainly is. He told me that he never looked at Diddy, even in the eye, but was not intimidated at all by his presence on the stand, saying he was there just to tell the truth. But as someone who makes his living as a male dancer, wants people to know that he would never do anything to hurt a woman.
My testimony had no violence and no aggression and no anything. It was really like a surprise to me, to the fact that I was even called to testify.
Hours after leaving the witness stand, an escort named the Punisher spoke to Pix 11.
Hey, yo, that's crazy, yo. That's crazy, yo. Yo, you in there getting. Hey, yo, you in there playing with the Punisher, yo. What are we doing? What? Hey, yo, it's no way, my guy. Yo, as a rich, yo, you got claim to fame, brother. You worth a lot of money over the past 15 years, my guy. You mean to tell me you in there playing with a Russian spy and a man named the Punisher, bro? Your money couldn't. If this shit is true, you know what I'm saying? If it's true, like I said, I mean, hey, I'm on our side. I'm not up in those upper echelon rich ass communities and elite circles and all of this shit. I don't know what goes on. Can we lean on conspiracy theorist type shit? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can lean on it in a sense. Because I don't know. But this is wild, bro. This man name is the Punisher, bro.
About his surreal experience on the stand. And
you in there watching your girl get punished, bro. You in there watching her getting donkey dick on a motherfucking Punisher, bro. That man don't sound like no male dancer, man. He sound like a fucking porn star, man. Well, he sound like he belongs straight on Pornhub, bro.
this Sean Combs trial. Was it intimidating sitting in front of him telling the story?
It was not, because the story is honestly what happened.
His real name? Sheree Hayes. The 51-year-old has been working in the adult entertainment industry for 30 years and recalls taking a phone call from Cassie Ventura in 2012. Cassie is the one who always handed you the money?
Yes.
And she's the one who always set this up, except for that one weird text that you got?
Exactly.
This was his first foray as an escort, but says he would never participate in the so-called freak-offs had he thought Cassie was being coerced.
I literally Can't say that any part of my experience gave me any cues that this was a woman in distress. More of a fetish type of scenario.
He says Diddy was directing the two, but never aggressively. Now that he knows about the sex trafficking allegations, regrets his participation.
I'm just hoping that I'm not viewed as somebody who did something to Cassie or contributed to her experience in a negative way.
Also on the stand Tuesday, Ventura's mother, Regina, who showed photos she took of her daughter's alleged physical abuse and an email.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all, they keep leaning on this physical abuse thing. That's like, I'm not saying throw that out, because obviously she was, they saying, not obviously, but they saying they accusing him of assault, domestic violence, whatever the case, beating on shorty and all that. Let's stop it. Let's exclude that. We got to get to these crazy ass, outlandish ass sexual allegations, bro. Y'all said this man was sex trafficking, bro, but they keep leaning back on the violence part. I feel like they're using Cassie as a character witness to further keep damaging the man's reputation, for real. And it makes it to where as though the jury, I feel like, they'd be swayed by that. They keep thinking in their mind is domestic violence. He beat on her. He made her do this. He beat her into coercion and all of this other shit. That's not what he's on trial for. He's not on trial for that. He's on trial for sex trafficking, bro, and assaulting people and putting drugs inside of baby oil. I don't know what factories or what kitchen you mixing this oil up in, bro, but that's number one, that's a lot of drugs. You feel what I'm saying? That's a lot of drugs. And how are you fusing this shit? Like, what method is you using to fuse this? Like, what are you doing? You just take the liquid and just dump it in the bottle, and then you just have somebody in there just making drugged out baby bottles. Like, who job was it to because you can't just call no factory up, bro. You can't call no factory up and say, yeah, yo, give me 1,000 bottles of the poison, the drugged out baby oil. Like, what are we? I get it, Diddy got a lot of money and all this shit, but who job was it to make bottles of drugged out baby oil up? Who job was that? Like, so that's what we gotta keep track on that. Like, yeah, he probably the domestic violence, I'm not condoning it, yo, but what man hasn't? It's so many men out here that get into domestic violence cases. It's somebody right now that you know, your brother's cousin, father, homeboy, fucking associate, a coworker. Like, it's somebody right now who you know then probably slapped the shit out of a woman, bro, or did something to a woman. Like I said, I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning people hitting on each other, period. Like I said, unless you're defending yourself. That's the only time I condone it. But we have, like, let's not make this like a thing where we so surprised that somebody was getting slapped around or somebody got hands put on them. We talking about this sexual trafficking shit and human trafficking and all this, you poisoning people and you raping people in studios and you taking people up to the back room upstairs and having them wake up with their butt hurting. Like, yo, bro, that's the sickening shit. That's the shit that we got to look more into on that. They keep leaning on this Cassie and the domestic violence. Okay, we got that established. The guy obviously settled out of court because he must have felt guilty about it. He didn't want that type of news to come out. So he settled out of court twice, right? From my understanding. Now, if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comment section. But I'm pretty sure that Cassie settled out of court twice, right? So we need to leave that alone. And we need to focus more on this sex trafficking shit, because that's crazy, bro. The Punisher, bro. What are we talking about here? Basically, they saying he forced her into sexual acts. And you mean to tell me as the Punisher, bro, or the Russian fucking mobster, fucking Kalashnikov, you mean to tell me, bro, like, y'all couldn't see, if y'all doing anything with this girl, y'all couldn't see the fact that she was under distress? If that's the case, nah, man.
Email from Cassie fearing that Combs would release a sex tape or hurt her if she didn't pay him 20 grand, a sum he later returned. Combs' former personal assistant, David James, also testified how he once accompanied Diddy to confront Suge Knight in California, armed with guns, admitting he later quit because he thought his life was in danger. So back to Mr. Hayes, the Punisher, says he stopped getting calls for freak-offs after failing to satisfy
freak-offs is crazy, and they've been coining that phrase.
The demands of the job he was paid thousands for, something that he's actually written about in his men's health book without naming names. So it was.
And then he wrote a book. Hold on, bro. The Punisher wrote a book. What? What?
I love you all. That's what Diddy told onlookers in
I estimated in trial was somewhere between 8 to 12 times. And this did go on over the course of 2.5 years.
Whoa.
8 to 12 times.
Yo, was that him?
Over the course of 2.5 years.
Known as the Punisher.
Hey, hey, yo. Hey, no way. What the fuck? That's yo? Man, they in some freaky bondage type shit. They on they 50 Shades of Grey type shit, bro. My man in there with your man in there with a spike mask on, bro. He in there trying to get into some freaky outlandish things, man.
Hayes says he was hired to perform at those wild encounters. On the stand here at court and today with us, he claims that Diddy would hide his face during those sex parties.
I think it's called a hijab. I know it's what the Muslim women wear, where their faces are fully covered and you can only see their eyes. I might have went as long as a year or so into it before I knew who they were. I was instructed to try to bypass the security, I guess, trying to keep privacy to a maximum. All the furniture was covered in sheets. The directions was, I kind of compare it to a photo shoot.
The exotic dancer turned author who wrote about the parties in his book talked to us.
What? And then he wrote a book? Hold on, what's the name of that book? Then he wrote a book. What? In Search of Freezer Meat. What the fuck? What the fuck are we talking about here, yo? Freezer meat. Hey, yo, this case wild as shit. You mean to tell me this man wrote a book, bro, called Freezer Meat, bro, and his name is the Punisher, bro? This shit is straight out of this shit is straight out of a movie. What are we talking about, bro? Yo, hold on, yo. What the fuck? A story of what? Man, what the fuck? And we talk freezer meat. Yo, pause. Hey, yo. Hey, yo, this man, yo, this is what I'm saying, yo. Like, it's no way, yo. Like, yo, you wrote a book. That's why I'm saying, yo, like, stuff with this case just weird, yo. Like, you made a book about this shit, bro. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? This man name is the Punisher, and his book is called Freezer Meat, yo. This is some wild shit. Can you make that up? I don't know, but that's crazy. That's filthy work, man.
Parties in his book talked to us about testifying only feet away from the alleged mastermind.
The energy in the room is so intense. I had no idea where Mr. Combs was. It was just chaotic.
He did finally make eye contact and told us this about Diddy's dramatic weight loss and change in appearance.
Just from the stress, I felt that I can see the magnitude on him. I mean, you know, it must be unbearable.
And Sheree told us
that man probably not even in there eating, man. He probably scared he gonna get poisoned, man. I'm trying to tell you, yo. I think it's a bigger scheme going on. In my opinion, this is not proven. This is just my opinion. This is just my thoughts. I really think it's a grand scheme going on, and I think Diddy just got caught up in it. And I think he definitely got probably some dirt on some people, as far as just probably audio, probably footage, you know, just knowledge and information on people that's like up in them elite circles. And I think somebody is trying to like get this man out of there, to be honest, man. Like, so can you call me a conspiracy theorist? Yes, you can. You can call me that. It's all cool. Because I don't think this case is that clean cut and dry, bro. Like, where it's just this hip hop mogul, which we always see. The hip hop mogul gets put under the spotlight, and they use the hip hop term to basically indict the hip hop mogul, because rap is always deemed as bad, violent, misogynistic. I'm sorry. Just too rebellious, is like I said, it's criminal, is crime infested. Like, this is the stigma that's over hip hop to the world. You know what I'm saying? Especially in those political spaces, especially in those professional spaces, hip hop is deemed as like, you know, demon music and all of that other stuff, right? So we've seen where it's like, yo, they just take it and they keep throwing the hip hop, rap mogul, hip hop mogul, rap. They keep using this as the headline, you know what I'm saying? For a lot of the media outlets, they use it, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know, but it just, like I said, it seems weird. Like I said, man, watching Diddy over the last, I'm gonna say maybe 10 years. I mean, the guy was making making a change. I started seeing him a lot talking about, you know, black empowerment, you know, empowering, you know, black business owners more. I saw him started giving back publishing to a lot of the artists that he was deemed as taking advantage of. I seen him doing that. He switched his name over to Brother Love, which if you look at stuff from like 1970s and stuff like that, a lot of those terms, you just using the word brother was a thing. You know, a lot of the love was preached inside of the culture in the 70s as far as black culture go. You know, so, and then on top of that, he said that he wanted that liquor company. You know, the ones that was basically over there with Ciroc. The parent company of that. He wanted them. And then all of a sudden, you know, fast forward months later, we started to see this type of stuff leak out in the news. So I don't know. Like I said, freezer meat. Like, what we talking about here?
Hadn't spoken to either Diddy or Cassie since 2015. But here's what he would tell her.
I would apologize for having any participation, even unknowingly, extreme.
But my thing is, like, yo, I'm not saying it's too far-fetched that people can't be held hostage against their own will in certain scenarios. But my thing is, yo, for somebody to stay around that long and be complicit with certain things, yo, obviously you was either, I feel like you liked the lifestyle. You know, maybe you didn't like, you know, all sides of it, but at the end of the day, you knew you can be inside of a rich lifestyle. You knew you basically could have basically what you needed and what you wanted. You didn't have to really want for anything. You know, you had shit paid for, you know, stuff like that. So what's the term? What's the term? I'd rather cry in a Maybach or I'd rather cry in a Ferrari. Yeah, I think Cassie she probably wanted to cry in that Ferrari, bro. Like, and I'm not saying, listen, because she could have felt like she was scared or held hostage. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, yo, it's so many forms of communication nowadays in this world, in this modern day society. You got phones, you got all types of apps and devices that you can use to basically, you know, talk your talk and talk your truth, as they say. So for her not to ever come out publicly and say anything, like, if you really feel like you're in danger, bro, in the dark, if you feel like you're in danger in the dark, the best way to do everything is basically come out into the light. And while we never seen a personal interview from Cassie, while we never saw her take like a deposition or something with a lawyer, something, whereas though, like, you could see she was trying to fight her way away from that lifestyle. We wasn't seeing her fight away from that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not around a lot of that shit, but it just seems weird for somebody. Cause I know if the first signs of any red flags that I see, I'm out of there. I don't care who you are. If I'm uncomfortable, I'm leaving, bro. I don't care. Fuck your money, fuck your lifestyle, fuck your houses, fuck your mansions, your cars, your jewelry, your special trips, flights and shit. Fuck all of that shit. You making me uncomfortable, I'm leaving. Never call me again. Don't talk to me no more. So for somebody to sit around in that for years, and we talking, I think they just brought a date up from like 2012 or some shit like that. We in 2025, bro. And all this shit hit a fan in what? I'm gonna say 2022, something like that, maybe. So, hey, man, I don't know. I know females who wouldn't even blink twice. They out of there, bro. I know females that's not playing that. They not going for none of that. It's females in my family. It's females I personally know as friends, co-workers. I came up around a certain. They not going for that. They not going for no nigga doing no shit like that. The first thing they hopping on that horn. Yo, we got issues over here. And it's niggas pulling up. Like, we gonna figure it out. Like, but I for her to sit around in that, and you know, to me, it's, hey, this is just me and my thoughts. Don't let my opinion get your panties in a bunch. Don't let my opinion ruffle your feathers. You know what I'm saying? This is just my opinion. Somebody who sit around that long dealing with that type of behavior, you might have liked it. I don't know.
Remorse and sadness if, in fact, I was participating with a woman who was being taken advantage of.
And on day 8 of his trial, there was more dramatic testimony in federal court.
Are you ready for today?
We were outside court as psychologist Dr. Dawn Hughes arrived to testify today. She's a veteran of the R. Kelly and Amber Heard cases.
That case was crazy too, yo. That was crazy work on that one, bro.
Diagnosed Ms. Heard with post-traumatic.
To be honest, I really do think the music industry is tied to jails and the justice system. I really do. I do think all of those owners kind of go around in the same, they kind of huddle at the same golf clubs and resorts and all of these private clubs. I really do think so. I think the judicial system and the music industry has some type of ties together. But that's just me being a conspiracy theorist.
Traumatic stress disorder.
She tried to explain if Cassie's allegations are true, why didn't she leave Diddy?
She spoke about that dynamic between the abuser and the victim. Oftentimes you stay because of humiliation.
Here we go. This is what I just was talking about this. I just was saying this. I just was literally just saying this.
She spoke about that dynamic between.
She tried to explain if
diagnosed Ms. Heard with post-traumatic stress disorder.
She tried to explain if Cassie's allegations are true, why didn't she leave Diddy?
She spoke about that dynamic between the abuser and the victim. Oftentimes you stay because of humiliation, fear of retaliation.
CNN correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister was inside the courtroom today.
Even though she is not testifying about this case, she is not talking about Sean Combs as an alleged abuser. She is not talking about Cassie Ventura as an alleged victim. Obviously, that's what this case is about. So the jury is sitting there and they're listening to this, and you would imagine they're connecting the dots in their head.
And prosecutors also showed off new photos from inside Diddy's South Florida mansion that was raided last March. 31 bottles of Astroglide, 25 bottles of baby oil, and semi-automatic weapons, one with the serial numbers scratched off. Just some of the evidence seized from his property.
But was this baby oil tested for any type of drugs, bro? It's any type of psychedelics? It's anything like. Now the weapons, I mean, hey, bro, you want to deal with that, especially if they was unregistered. If they missing serial numbers, shaved off serial numbers and all that, then bro, you gonna go to jail for that because that's illegal. So now that right there is criminal activity right there for sure. If they found that in his house, but bro, if the baby oil is not proven as some type of like, you know, enhancer or some type of weird ass like drug or something, like I don't know, like you can't put that in the mix, bro. Stop. They need to stop doing that because I feel like that's the media trying to drag his name through the mud, or just like the Justice Department is trying to drag his name even more, but because the baby oil meme has been running for a minute now.
Prosecutors have alleged that these so-called freak-offs are at the center of this entire case.
Bro, just labeling some shit freak-offs, it's like, wow, that's like what we what we talking about.
case. They say that Diddy forced these women into these freak-offs, and the supplies for the freak-offs were often baby oil. Supplies for the freak-off into these freak-offs, and case. They say that Diddy forced these women into these freak-offs, and the supplies for the freak-offs were often baby oil, Astroglide, and drugs. They have also spoken about his threats and intimidation with this racketeering charge. That's where the guns could come in. They're trying to paint a picture of who this man was all the time, not just one time.
They trying to make him out to be a freaky mob boss, bro. He a freaky mob boss. That's not, they painted him as a freaky mob boss, bro. Racketeering, like, bro, that's what you charge mobs. You charge people who are like lieutenants and generals inside of drug organizations, bro, and mob organizations. The racketeering charges, bro. Like, what are we talking? Listen, bro. How the fuck did they put a one-man RICO together? I never heard of no shit like that, man. A RICO case? Who is his co-defendants? Who else is in here that was doing this shit with him? How the fuck y'all make this shit's weird, bro. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I was just tripping out that shit. I was like, yo, what's going on with this case? Cause it's like, yo, it's some outlandish ass, wild ass like stories coming out of this whole thing like that. Hey man, I can never say what's on point and what's not on point, because like I never been there, and a lot of us haven't been around it, so I can never make a judgment on it, because it's like, yo, until this man has been proven innocent, then we can't really say anything. But what I can say is these stories are crazy, bro. This man name was the Punisher, bro. You in there getting freaky with the Punisher, bro. If those stories are true, you in there. Yo, that's wild. That's wild, man. That's wild. You know what I'm saying? But, let's see where the rest of this shit goes at, man. I'm gonna keep my tabs on it, between, watching the playoffs and shit like that. Between, staying up to date with some of the new music artists and shit that's coming out, because I will be doing like reactions and shit like that on a lot of that stuff too. Like I said, man, in the beginning, make sure y'all are checking out, Truth Up TV. That's where you catch a lot of the music stuff. You gonna catch me making beats over there. You might catch me in the process of recording stuff. Still getting my setup together a little more. Certain things that I'm adding to the collection. So just make sure y'all just stand in tune with me. I'm gonna be dropping knowledge over there, tutorials on beats and anything like that. So if you feel like you interested in learning some new things, it's like, look, I'm not a 100-year veteran with this shit, but what I can share is my experiences with this shit. What I can share is some of my knowledge that I've gained along the way. For any up and coming artist that's just getting started. You looking to see what equipment you want to buy, like what's some of the stuff that I use that, that I can kind of show you or point you in the right direction with. Holla at me, Troops Up TV. Make sure y'all subscribe, Troops Up TV, Troops Up TV, Troops Up TV. That's TROOPSUP TV, Troops Up TV. But the Raww Dose side of things is just, like I said, I just do the reactions to a lot of the current events and a lot of shit that's going on out here. I will be dropping knowledge on stuff about life and just diving into like conspiracy theorist stuff. So if you haven't yet, like I said, subscribe to this channel too. Go check out some of my past videos. It's not a lot up right now because, like I said, I've been doing a lot of different shit. But I think I want to say this year is really where I'm locking down on shit far as like disco. People know me for my voice on the music side of things, so make sure y'all start to get to know my voice on this side of things, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, keep on fucking with me, keep rocking out with your boy, you know what I'm saying? It's Raww Dose TV. That's again Raww Dose TV. That's raw with 2 W's. DOSE TV. So make sure y'all hitting that subscribe button. If you catch this on any other platform, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, well, X now, just make sure y'all, doing your due diligence and going back to those links to follow those pages, follow the page. And yeah, man, just keep rocking with me. Troops up, saluted, I stay, I fly straight, no, tomorrow, bang!